Are you willing to fight? Help us save the Oasis.
By now, you've probably seen the blockbuster movie Ready Player One that was directed by Steven Spielberg. And you may have also heard that it's based on a 2011 book by Ernest Cline. Today, I'm going to compare the differences between the movie and the book. And of course, because we're going to be doing that, there are major spoilers in this video for both the movie and the book because their plots are quite different. So if you plan to see the movie or read the book in the future and haven't yet, I do not recommend that you watch this video. So without further ado, let's get right into the differences. The first and most major difference is the way in which the 3 keys are obtained. In both the movie and the book, the goal is for the characters to obtain 3 keys. However, in the book, not only do they have to obtain 3 keys, they have to complete 3 corresponding gates, which had they have done that in the movie, would have probably made the runtime of the movie run closer to 4 hours rather than 2.5. So obviously this was taken out in the interest of time. But the actual methods to obtaining the keys is also very different. The copper key is obtained by Parzival when he drives his car backwards in a race in order to obtain the key that was resting at the end of the race that he just kind of skipped by using the Easter egg he discovered. Now this is completely different in the book where Parzival actually attends school, which is another major plot point that is missing, and due to his lack of credits, he can't afford to leave the planet that the school is on in the Oasis. He eventually discovers that he believes the copper key is located in a forest near his school. He ultimately discovers that the key is inside of this sort of dungeon within the forest. It's a D&D style dungeon that he journeys down, has to play a character in a game of Joust, which is a classic arcade game. There he also finds Artemis had been coming back trying to replay this Joust match multiple times. This is when he first meets her character in person. It is not through the race. In fact, the race isn't even in the book at all. And it's done through this D&D underground dungeon where he has to play a game of Joust. But like I said, once he obtains the key, that's not all there is to it. There's actually another riddle written on the key, which then leads him to go to a recreation of Holiday's former childhood town, where he then goes into Holiday's room, opens up the first gate, which is a War Games poster, and he has to play through what's called a film sync of the movie War Games. So he plays as Matthew Broderick's character in that movie and has to recite all of his lines from memory. If he misses any of the lines, it deducts points. If he misses too many of them, he would just end up losing and getting kicked out of the gate. Luckily, he's seen War Games many times, so he's able to complete the gate and move on to finding the next key, which again is also very different. In the movie, you may remember that the second key, the Jade key, they find in a sort of Shining type world where they have to, take the leap that Holiday didn't take and kiss the Kira girl. And while Kira is in the book, she does not have anything to do with the Jade key and has very little impact on the story until the very, very end. So with Kira not really being a factor in the book so much, the Jade key is actually obtained by playing the game Black Tiger, which is one of Holiday's favorite arcade games. He plays the game Black Tiger in like a sort of almost first-person or third-person action style format rather than a traditional side-scroller. After he completes Black Tiger, again, he gets another riddle where he has to find the gate that the Jade key that he just obtained goes with. So he ends up playing a 3D recreation of Zork, which is a classic text-based game, one of the very original video games. When he's inside Zork, he captures all of the trophies that you need to get in order to complete that game. Then he takes out a box of Captain Crunch that was hidden inside of one of the cupboards, and he blows a whistle that was sort of the free item in the Captain Crunch cereal, which then completes that gate. The crystal key at accompanying gate is actually very similar to the movie. The IOI gets there first, they barricade it with the Orb of Oxavox, but the way that the Orb of Oxavox is diffused is actually quite different, and we'll get into that later. But once they're able to break down the gate, they have this massive battle similar to the epic one that you saw in the movie. And then the team breaks into the castle. From there, they do have to complete a game of adventure, just like in the movie, but it's quite different the way it goes down in the book. First, 3 people have to insert their keys into the door at the same time. Not 3 keys from the same person. 3 individual people have to insert their keys at the same time. So this is done by Parzival, Artemis, and H. Then, once they get inside that gate, the final gate, they have to play through a game of Tempest where they have to beat Holiday's high score. They have to complete a movie sync type thing similar to the War Games one that's done on the movie Monty Python. And then they have to play adventure and find the Easter egg, which is exactly the same as the scenario in the movie. Now, with the ways that the keys and the gates are obtained between the movie and the book being completely different, this creates major differences between the book and the movie for the majority of the plot. You may also remember that I mentioned that 3 people had to put their keys into the final gate in order to open it, which again was Parzival, Artemis, and H. Shoto was there as well, but he stayed outside to continue the battle. Daido, however, his brother, who didn't actually turn out to be his brother in the book, and I'm not quite sure if they were actually brothers in the movie either, did not make it that far because Daido was killed in real life by the IOI in the book. Also, Daido's character is revealed in the book to be about 22 years old, significantly older than he is appearing in the movie. Now, you may remember in the movie during the final battle, it's Artemis who infiltrates the IOI base. After she had become a prisoner, she's able to act as one of their characters, move around inside Anorak's castle, and ultimately defuse the Orb of Osavox. However, in the book, this is done by Parzival, who actually allows himself to be captured by the IOI, goes into the IOI headquarters, and sets up this grand plan that he would end up having this robot ordered that would actually deliver the commands to defuse the bomb from the inside, or defuse the Orb of Osavox from the inside. This successfully plays out, and he has to then escape the IOI base that he allowed himself to come into. Now, he got into the IOI base by using an in real life fake personality called Bryce Lynch. He created this sort of fake personality for himself, went into the IOI base as Bryce Lynch, and then left and became Wade again. Now, because Artemis is not the one that goes into the IOI base, and rather Parzival is, Parzival and Artemis do not meet until literally the last 3 pages of the book. They do not meet in real life until the very end. Another major character difference is with IROC. You may remember he's the guy with the skeleton-shaped body that sells all the artifacts to the IOI that are really rare and that are going to help them win the contest. Well, IROC is a character in the book as well. However, he's significantly different. He's actually another one of Parzival and H's friends, kind of, that hang out in H's chat room. They kind of like having IROC around because he's really naive and they can always show how smart they are compared to IROC. In a way, it kind of explains that they like having IROC around because it tells them how much the average gunter actually knows, and it makes them feel like they have a better shot at completing the contest because most of the other gunters have a very limited knowledge and haven't done the same level of research that Parzival and H believe they've done. Another major difference with the final battle is that Parzival is once again revived because he has an extra life. Now, in the movie, he obtains this extra life by getting it from Og, who's actually disguised as the robot at the library sort of research center. Now, that research center doesn't actually exist in the book, and he also never comes in contact with Og's avatar outside of the party at the nightclub. So, since he doesn't meet Og's avatar and receive the coin that way, it's actually done by him playing a perfect game on Pac-Man. He's playing this perfect game on Pac-Man, thinking that if he completes it, he will be able to unlock one of the keys or one of the gates. This doesn't end up happening, and rather he just gets a quarter. And he doesn't know what the point of the quarter is. It sits in his inventory with no description, and he doesn't know what it is until that final battle when the coin redeems itself, and ends up getting him to the end because he ends up with that extra life even after the IOI just blows off this massive bomb that destroys all of the avatars on the planet. And the last and most obvious difference is the character license. There's a ton of characters that are mentioned in the book that don't appear in the movie, and there's a ton of characters in the movie that don't appear in the book. The number of references in the book is probably about 3 times as many as are in the movie, which makes the book be great to read if you're just like a super geek and you really enjoy that sort of stuff. Beyond that, the writing in the book is, in my opinion, painfully average and is nothing, that will blow your mind. However, I do really believe you will enjoy the book if you're into, geek culture and things of that nature. But obviously, it was difficult for Spielberg to even obtain as many licenses as he did. IGN did a video covering every single Easter egg in the movie. I will leave a link to that down in the description. And that video will show you just how many licensed characters made it into this film. Thank you guys for watching, and hopefully you enjoyed the differences between the Ready Player One book and the Ready Player One movie. Let me know what your favorite difference was, and if you've read the book, or if you plan to read the book, and what you thought of it.